It's
Got it.
3:01 on Tuesday, 11/11, 11th of November. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Moab Tourism Advisory Board. We have a quorum. I see Jason online and we're ready to move forward. I'd like to call to order. Are there any citizens to be heard? Oh my, all right, this gentleman in the black Patagonia. Come on up.
Columbia.
Right away.
Columbia, sorry.
Right.
Please just go, please, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, will you say your name as well?
Hi, my name is Red Rock, your public information officer for the Red Rock Four Wheels, not really. My name is John Larish and I am here representing the Red Rock Four Wheelers at this meeting. You may not have heard of the Red Rock Four Wheelers before. They have been an institution in Moab since the late '70s. However, you may have heard of some of the events that the Red Rock Four Wheelers put on that bring a few people into this community. The biggie is coming up, and it's gonna be the 60th annual Easter Jeep Safari. That will be starting March 28th of next year. We are more than just the Easter Jeep Safari. We are Labor Day Campout. We are Trail of the Month. We're the people who put on the all-night graduation party for the high schoolers. We are the people who provide the Eric Brewer Memorial Scholarships to graduates of Grand County High School. We are the group that goes out on these trails with the Bureau of Land Management and conducts many trail repair activities throughout the year. You will also recognize the red fencing at just about every community event provided free of charge by the Red Rock Four Wheelers. We are also the group that partnered with Utah State Parks to go out and help build Utah Raptor State Park. We're the ones who are responsible for getting all of the signage up in there. We got all the posts down on the ground. We're just waiting for park manager to get the signs done so we can go out and put those in. You may read about us in the newspaper as we make annual charitable donations to many of our groups, search and rescue teams here. We are the people that are responsible for this thing that I bet everybody here has seen around town. So we're a community organization that's here all the time. We have a monstrous 60th coming up. We're having a special event for youth at that called Camp Moab. We're gonna have our daily trail runs. We have a huge vendor expo out at OSTA, who partners with us every year for this. We are putting in a repeater for GMRS communications throughout the Moab area, improving trail communications out there. And for the commission, I just want you guys to know that we're expecting over 12,000 people to come here in March just for Jeep Safari. And we're not talking just about people from Moab or Colorado, okay? We have global reach. We will have people here from everywhere except probably Antarctica. We'll have at least a representative here. We create millions in economic activity every year with this group coming in, and you see the spike in the tax collections the month that Jeep Safari happens, because these people come in and they spend. We've been developing social media channels. We have a YouTube channel up now, a Facebook channel up, and we welcome any help for the 60th and going forward, because we need to expand beyond those avenues. We need to talk to our TV stations in Salt Lake City, Colorado, basically regional TV, and we need to be part of the national campaign
30 seconds.
for Moab. So I'm just here to represent the group, and I look forward to hearing from the experts that you brought in, and we'd love to partner with them on a forward basis for all of the events that the club does. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Larish. Sorry I gave you extra time because I forgot to start the watch because I was captivated, sorry. Go ahead, Teresa.
I am so excited about what I heard yesterday, but I didn't get to talk to all of you, so I wanted to just say really quickly. I'm Teresa King. I'm the owner of Canyonlands Advertising. I started Moab Happenings 37 years ago. I want to offer my services and coordination between things that you do. I'm a different animal than everybody else, anybody else that you're gonna be working with. I'm only Moab. I started this little thing about, like this, with a little piece of paper. I used to hand around town. This is my 1989 version of Moab Happenings. And so I just wanted to let you know, whether you have paid ads, whether you have advertorial, whether you just have an article, if you think of a way that you want to get whatever, again, there's so many different things that are going on here, how to have Moab Happenings help get the message out. We're happy to do that. We're not just in Moab. We deliver in Salt Lake, we deliver in Colorado, and of course we're online. And again, I just wanted to extend my appreciation for you being here, and how exciting it is for what you're doing to bring it all together. And I'm really excited how you're gonna mesh all those taglines into one. So that's why I'm here listening.
Thank you, Teresa. And I have another gentleman, we have a gentleman over here in the orange, go ahead.
Yeah, Scott Solly, Grant County Search and Rescue. I wanted to come and I was hoping to actually at one point add this to the agenda. Hopefully I can work that in next time. About a year and a half ago, the GCAT had funded a project through promotional dollars to generate a podcast called Back from Beyond. If you haven't listened to it, give it a listen. It's well done. Right now, it's pretty much dead in the water, and it's gonna die if we don't do something. And so I was hoping to try to get a letter of from MTAB to the county commission to actually move the ownership of Back from Beyond out of Grand County and take that to KZMU, where if we were able to do that, this would open up the ability for the podcast to actually advertise, make money, to then fund the next season. If we're, the idea here is that it's entertaining, but it also has a good message, which I think leads it to that promotional sort of side of the TRT money. And we all know that or it leads it to the mitigation fund side of the TRT. And I think we know that that fund is pretty much not available. And so if we don't, if we're not able to move this, then it's probably just going to end with what we've built. And we would like to continue to tell our stories and also to get a message out to our recreating public. And I think if we were able to get even one or two people to save themselves before we do, or we need to go out there, we'd literally save the county thousands of dollars. And so I don't know the best way to go about moving that forward, but as of right now, Grand County owns that podcast. We're unable to create revenue with it. And we would like to just take what we've started, what KZMU has started, and move that to KZMU so they could continue to produce this, I think, interesting entertainment.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan.
Thanks, Scott.
Any others? It's kind of exciting. All right. Opening items, besides welcome to all, if we could quickly, I just want to acknowledge the presence of, there's so much talent in this room right now. I mean, not that we don't always have talent in Grand County, but we have so much added value today. I just want to thank you all for being here and being willing to present and share with our community so much. If we could go around the room and just do introductions, just quick introductions. We'll wait till the end of the meeting for any time that's left over to do our board member reports. But I think we want to focus on the talent that's here and hear what's to be said. Go ahead, Wendell, you get to start.
Wendell Williams, Vice Chair of the Moab Tourism Advisory Board.
Cora Phillips, Board Member, Director of the Moab Chamber of Commerce.
Brian Martinez, Grant County Commissioner.
Mel Johnson, Director of Community and Partner Relations with Utah Office of Tourism.
Mick Saleda, Moab Office of Tourism.
Ali Harford, Moab Office of Tourism.
Steve Barry, Account Director at Camp 4 and Tourist. Campbell Levy, Founder at Camp Stories.
Courtney Howsam, Camp Stories.
Keegan Metzner, Director of the Moab to Monument Valley Film Commission.
Alex Borshevsky, board member.
Lacey Shumway, Utah Office of Tourism on the Community Partner Relations team, and I live here in Moab.
Howard Trenholm, board member.
And I'm Lori McFarland with High Point Hubbard ATV and chairperson of the board. And now we gotta head over here because we ran out of chairs.
Roll call, Madden Media.
Dan Jans, Fan Media.
Caitlin Green, Madden Media. Kristen Brockle, Madden Media. Heather Molina, Madden Media.
Woohoo. Okay, thank y'all.
Ivanton.
Are there any conflicts of interest, disclosures, or ex parte communications?
Yep, I'll make a disclosure. Today I took out Madden Media, Camp Stories, and Utah Office of Tourism, Camp 4, on a 4x4 trip out into Kinglands.
I am not thinking of any this week. But I haven't thought of any. Okay. We're going to move on to discussion and action items. Can we go ahead and approve the minutes in?
Oh, yeah, I did not have any time to do the minute.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. How about we put that into the next meeting? Okay, we'll table that on.
Why, Ellie? There's
Guys.
And
I have nothing going on this week.
when we're creating this agenda, we very much wanted to be mindful of the Camp 4 tourists, the Camp Stories, Madden Media, and Utah Office of Tourism time, since everybody's going to take a moment to present. And we have called so many members in the community and said, if you can't be here in person, just go online. So there will be people listening and tuning in or listening later. Please don't feel like just this is your only audience. It's much broader out there, but do not feel that you have to stay. You're welcome to stay, but once we're all done presenting, you're all welcome to go enjoy this beautiful weather, and we'll get through the rest of our agenda items. But with that, I think we want to start with Camp 4 tourist.
Cool. Let me just present our slides real quick, just track what we've been doing.
I could say something really quickly.
Please go ahead.
We had a presentation yesterday from all of our agency partners, Madden, Camp Stories, and Camp 4. For anyone online and here that didn't see that, it's on YouTube. So you can go back and watch it. It's a 2-hour meeting about what they've been doing in 2025 and what they're doing in 2026. I want to thank the board for empowering all these people to come together and start telling Moab's story, and to Commissioner Martinez for all the time he's put into it, and our board chair and vice chair. They've spent a lot of time out of these meetings. And I'm really appreciative and really excited. So we'll hear from each of our agency partners now, but there's a more fulsome presentation online.
And I want to thank Commissioner Martinez for entertaining everybody with our beautiful landscape. I know you've taken a lot of time in the last, oh my gosh, at least some time, the last 2 days.
11 months.
Exactly, but sharing this is what we're all about, and this is what we're all here to do. And Brian, thank you so much for being willing to really, I mean, I just feel like it was such a great opportunity to share with you boots on the ground. I know y'all come here on your own, but thanks for taking the time and heading out with Brian at NAVTech.
We enjoyed it so much.
Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
Sorry, Steve, I was.
All good, all good. So, from the Camp 4 tourist team, just giving an update of where we are in this process. We're a little over a month into what is about an 11-month project. We've broken it out into 3 phases, and so we're just getting into about the middle of our phase 1, which is our discovery, research, and insights to get to our brand strategy. So it's been really good. The last trip we were here, the last meeting we were at, we were in town and had several local intercepts. We started our stakeholder interviews. We developed our stakeholder list. We got to our porch light sessions. We had one on Sunday evening. We had another one this morning, all very successful. Great opportunity to just to discuss with the locals everything that we're doing and learn as much as possible where we can go with this brand. So it's been super successful. The second trip, even just being able to get out and see more of the area has been incredible. But as we move forward, we'll go into these next phases, which is our brand strategy and brand identity development. And then that gets us into our brand creative campaign, where we're actually building everything that would make up the brand identity and the brand campaign into that phase 3. So we're still very early in our process, just a little over a month, like I was saying, and there's just a lot more to do. So this is just a snapshot of where we've been to date so far. So we had our stakeholder interviews. We've started to do our overall landscape analysis. That's just kind of diving into existing research, all the competitive review, just looking at everything trend wise, also into social media. And then in the second trip here, we've gotten into more of these intercepts and our interviews with the stakeholders. We've done these porch light sessions, and we had a great community open house last night, which gave us all the opportunity to have great conversation and ask a lot of questions of all the locals here. So thanks to everyone that was able to come. I think it was a great turnout, and we really got a lot of great information out of that. And I think now, kind of cross-referencing that with all the interviews and the porch light sessions, we then come together and bring our findings back to you all. So as we go through this whole process in phase 1, we'll come back December 9th with our preliminary findings, just to bounce these ideas off of you all, make sure that we're getting input on that from both Madden and Camp Stories as well. And then we'll come back in January at that board meeting to present our final summary of phase 1. Any questions? Cool.
That was very concise, Steve.
Love it.
I was presented this several times.
I was gonna say, I was also gonna remind everybody that many of these presentations are they've done them before. I'm sorry you were having to repeat yourself. It's great for the people who are not here today to be able to watch this and see what we're up to. So, well, thank you.
Awesome. All right. The next presenter will be Camp Stories, that both of you can tell us what you can about your review.
Sure, just pull this up.
And Camp Stories is our public relations
Thank
for
you.
our representatives.
Yes, so we are the PR agency, and we really cover all things earned, is what we like to say. Earned media, influencer, etc. Working directly with journalists and media to get that exceptional coverage that we want for Moab, to invite people across the country to come and visit this amazing town. So we like to start with the North Star, as we like to call it, and positioning Moab as the soul of the American Southwest. And really, a lot of what we try to do is ensure that people aren't thinking of Moab as just a stop along the way, or somewhere where they can stop for one night and, do a quick exploration. There's so much to unpack here, so many concentric layers of adventure, culture, makers, design, community. And so we really want to invite, as part of our larger strategy, people to stay here for many days, because there's so much to do and so much to explore. So just a quick refreshing on our objectives, and I won't get deep into these, but in everything that we're trying to do, in every earned media communication that we have with our journalist partners and friends, we're thinking about increasing awareness and share of voice across the board, shifting perception and broadening appeal. And shifting perception is really important, because it's thinking about the seasonality in Moab in different ways. So how are we inviting people in times when they otherwise might not come to Moab? And how are we thinking about summer as a really big push, winter as a really big push, and making sure that people understand that there are really appealing things in some of these off season times. Also driving economic impact, of course, supporting all of the local businesses, and then promoting responsible tourism along the way, making sure that we're inviting the right people who respect the place when they come to visit. So these are some of the strategic messaging pillars, and Campbell's going to get a little bit deeper into this. But some of the high level topics that we like to cover in terms of the pillars are adventure, culture, makers and art, food and beverage, so the culinary scene, which is incredibly diverse and amazing, community-centric spirit, right? How this community lifts each other up day in and day out. Southwest spirit, we love that nod. Which brings me to the film and literary tourism. We had an amazing stop at the Thelma and Louise area this morning on our tour, which was always exceptional, and took so many great photos. And we just love to talk about the film tourism scene. And I'm sitting next to the right lady here, because there's just so much to unpack, and there's so much that has recently happened, the Godzilla movie. So more there. Indigenous stories being really important, accessibility, and then heritage and history as just some of the high level topics that we like to hit. And now Campbell's gonna jump a little bit deeper into some of the story angles that we're specifically pitching right now.
Yeah, just very quickly, and Courtney sort of touched upon some of these, but accessible adventure, we like to say, from flip flops, as Brian wore today, to hiking boots. Moab has a guide who can take you there. In our initial dive, we've talked to some journalists who have told us, oh, I don't know if Moab is for me. I'm not a hardcore adventurer. I've never slept in a tent. We really want to dispel that notion and invite everybody in. Tell them that there's somebody here who can take you. It doesn't matter whether your idea of a hike is a walk through Manhattan. This is a place where you can come. We're going to make you feel comfortable. Increasing visitation during lower seasons, as Courtney mentioned as well. We've already started to do that through some of our storytelling. Economic impact, really important. I think another component of this as well is showing business owners who have come, started businesses here, and giving other people an idea that maybe they could come here and start a business as well. There's somebody who has probably done it before them. They could follow that path. Film and literary tourism, that's a really fun one. We feel like there's a lot of brand equity to be grabbed in the film and literary tourism space. The idea that, oh my gosh, I want to go there. Not just this idea of that was filmed in the Southwest, that was filmed in Moab. I want to go to that place. I want to follow in the footsteps of these people and see that. Community, of course. Again, the idea that locals have done it all. And then astrotourism and noctourism. That's a space that's really trending right now, and we feel like we can own that. Culinary, of course, we're working on some big stories in culinary, which we're really excited about. Road trips, Courtney mentioned this as well. Really focusing on telling these longer visit stories, these 2, 3, 4, 5 day stories, so that people aren't saying, I can go and see it. As long as we're making sure these stories have these longer itineraries, it's going to make people stay longer. Moab's legacy and timelessness, this idea that timeless destinations are truly, really rare. Let's tell that story. Art and makers as well. The idea that there's this remarkable maker scene of, we said the other day that Rebecca's writing, McAllister's writing 200+ checks a month to all these makers. So telling some of those individual stories. And then of course, nature, environmental, and then also weddings, elopements, and honeymoons is an area that we really want to lean into, especially from the adventure side of things. Everything we do is very focused on character stories. The characters here are central to here. They don't live anywhere else. And so really diving into why these people live here, how they've affected the area around them, but also how their environment has affected them and made them create these incredible businesses. And so we call this a Camp Stories source book. It's basically a living pitch document. Like Camp 4, we're going around, we're interviewing people, hearing about their stories. I think the first question we always ask is, tell us about your journey. Like, tell us how you got here. Some people grew up here, other people were led here, or they came on a trip here. And so sort of hearing about that, that's like rockhounds, restaurateurs, makers, engineers, brewers, that's everything. These people aren't necessarily spokespeople for Moab Office of Tourism. I think that makes them more authentic. They're able to lean into like why this place is special. And so it also doubles as media training, which we like. We can identify people while we're doing these interviews, and they can tell us, you know, this person would be amazing on broadcast television, or maybe somebody is not as comfortable on that. We can train them up as well. This is a list of some of the folks that we've interviewed already.
Yeah, and just to add to that, like Steve mentioned at our community open house last night, which was incredibly successful, we were able to meet so many more people and immediately add them into this list, because we like to have this queue of ongoing interviews so that we're just unpacking and discovering new stories every single day. And so we've added, I think, 5 more people last night that we just engaged with and said, hey, like, we need to have an hour deep dive discussion to unpack all of this and add this into our arsenal, essentially.
Yeah, some recent people that we've hosted, Tim Wanger, who already produced a great story for Matador, Winston Ross, who's writing several stories for New York Post, a big travel feature, and Overland Journal. Maya Silver, who just emailed me for Outside. That story should come out this week. It's really exciting. She interviewed 4 different outfitters on accessible adventure. She also told me that they're blowing out a second story from that on tandem-based Moab, which is exciting. That will come out next month. And then this month we have Mary Beth Skillis, who writes for Backpacker and Outside, several others. Emily Pennington, who writes for Wall Street Journal and has some other stories planned there. That's in partnership with UOT as well. And then just some quick look at sort of some of the perception bending stories that we're working on. This was one that ran in August. Yes, it's hot in Arches National Park right now. Here's why you should go anyway. We don't often get the chance to write a headline exactly as it appears. In this case, we did, which was pretty cool. A reminder that we are in the earn space. And so we're not buying ads. We're pitching stories to people, inspiring them and getting them often to come here and then write stories. And then just again, speaking toward astrotourism, come nightfall, Moab's greatest attraction reveals itself, this idea that the night sky is endangered. A lot of people never see this. I think we take it for granted a lot of times, but in cities, you don't see what we have here. And then just a quick look at some of the coverage that we've had. And then some upcoming stories I mentioned outside. National Geographic is writing a story right now where they're interviewing park rangers at Dead Horse State Park. Wall Street Journal, Emily Pennington I mentioned as well, New York Post, Food and Wine, we're really excited about that as well. A lot of people have been really surprised by the culinary scene here. We feel like it hasn't been written about a lot, and so, but deserves to be, and so that's one we're really excited about. And the coffee scene. The coffee here like beats cities 3 times its size, and so, which is a fun story too.
Indeed. And that's all we have for today.
See you guys.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question? Can you talk about the Overland Journal?
Yeah.
article?
Yeah, so Winston came and he rented a Jeep and went out, and it's really important that we're telling not just stories of human powered adventure, but also vehicle powered adventure. And so he's writing about his experience where he rented that Jeep and he went out and discovered trails. And we feel like that's one of the best ways to cover a lot of ground and see a lot of ground. And also I think from an accessibility standpoint, it's really important that we're showing people that there's so many different ways you can go here. You might not be able to go for a hike, or you might have to stay in a vehicle. And so we feel that's really important that we're telling those stories as well.
Thanks.
Yes.
It's really great. As a PR company, do you have anything to mitigate some of our rather negative perceptions of our community? That we're too busy, we're too noisy, we don't like these user groups. I mean, we're kind of battling these perceptions, and as you know, perception is reality. But is there any way you can help us mitigate those issues?
Yeah, like internally among the community.
Just, create more positivity about this is the place to visit, because we're kind of hearing the opposite right now in certain, sectors, just to make sure we're all inclusive.
Sure. I think we're constantly talking to different user groups. I think some of the interviews that we're doing as well speak to that, making sure that everybody has a voice. I think it's important that regardless of what your view is on tourism, that you're feeling heard. We're hearing you. And we're adapting to whatever that message may be. I think e-bikes are a good example. We were talking about e-bikes a lot last night. It's an extremely divisive issue. Making sure that if we're talking about things that are divisive, that we're giving a voice on both sides of the issue. So I think e-bikes are fascinating, but we have some of the foremost experts in e-bikes right now. Obviously, the trails are going to be open to e-bikes, and some are already. And so making sure that we're interviewing somebody like Tyson at Trails, who built trails, he can talk very knowledgeably about what it does to trails or what it doesn't do to trails, and then maybe interviewing somebody also that is on the other side of the spectrum of that. And so I think some of that is giving a voice to everybody, regardless of whether we agree with it or not.
And you mentioned expensive, right? Like people are thinking of Moab as too expensive a destination, or the room nights are too high. And we're also strategically working with specific journalists that might have a frugal travel beat, or others where we can talk about and position some of the Moab hotels and stays, not only in the off season, but also room deals or best times to travel, so that people understand there are deals to be had, or there are ways to make it more affordable
Yeah, I think
for their
opening up that
families.
option for people,
Yeah,
because I think the perception is that people just have this like, oh, it's just so expensive, I look at hotel rooms and they're $350 and I'm just not gonna do it. So.
and there's so many options.
Right.
And seasonally as well. I mean, it's like if come in December, right, when you can get a $99 room night really easily, and the parks are empty, and it's actually an incredible time to visit.
Yeah.
Same with summer.
It's changing,
Demand is good though.
it's changing that
It
perception.
drives our rates up, and that's our tax base.
Sure.
I think
So
it's
don't-
changing that perception and not the actual reality. Reality is we're in prime season right now, and I'm seeing 80, 97, 107, $68, $89, $89. Right? So it's that perception that needs to get changed and not the reality.
Right.
Yeah, we were here in July last, And I can't wait to come back next July. The parks are much emptier. We were on the river most of the days, or in pools as well. I think that's another story we're trying to tell, is that it's so easy to stay in a hotel now. Most of them have resort style pools in some cases. And so you stay cool during the day and then go for a night hike, or Noctourism speaks really well to that as well. Also, it's interesting. The gentleman who owns Paddle Moab, we told him that the Wall Street Journal was really interested in night experiences. And they were looking for something new. And he said, I'll develop a night experience. And he developed nighttime kayaking that ended up in the story. And I guess we were talking to somebody this week, and I guess he had 10 plus bookings just from that story, where he developed this experience. And so we love hearing like specific examples of where somebody has said, I'll do that, and then sold a bunch of trips from it.
And I want to emphasize, it's really easy for businesses to be mentioned in these pitches. These are people who have reached out to Camp Stories, who have worked with them. So if anyone is interested and wants their business in it, it's as simple as writing an email. But we can't help you if you don't reach out to us first.
And we are focused on spreading the love too, right? There's a perfect fit in terms of a hotel, a guided experience, a restaurant, whatever it is for every single writer that we're talking about. So if we're organizing a trip or an itinerary, we're thinking about, you know, what are the interests of this writer specifically, and how are we matching the right things? Then we get to the next writer. Hey, you know, who's next on the list? And we're trying to rotate through all of the businesses to ensure that we're spreading the love and that everyone is getting the opportunity for that coverage, and that we're showcasing the best of the best, which means we're going through all of the amazing businesses and showcasing all of the highlights of this amazing place consistently.
Are there any other questions? That was a flurry. Awesome. We are just cooking along right on time. I love it. If we could just hear the Madden media presentation, if you guys want to sidle on up, come on over so we can get you on tape.
Awesome. Madam Chair, Commissioner Martinez, board, thank you so much for having us. Really appreciate it. Just a great discussion around your business needs and business goals, and then how marketing can have a real impact in it over the last couple of days. But also really just giving us a chance to experience a new side of, you know, being a Moab or the time. So it's been a fantastic couple of days, short whirlwind, of course, as it is the case. But want to give you a little bit of highlights. Want to highlight some of our team here. We got 5 of our folks here that we got quick introductions, of course, supported by a larger team in what we do here across the tourism marketing space, because we focus nearly exclusively on that, with about 80–90% of our media that goes towards that, and how we manage that. So I'll let you go through some of the key business goals, and I'll close this up.
Yeah, perfect. So where we really start with any of the destinations that we work with is spending some time really listening and understanding. So really how we start is, okay, what are the things that we need to accomplish overall for the destination? A lot of times that's rooted in marketing, but a lot of times it's really understanding the nuances of the destination itself. So we spent time with the team in May. It's hard to believe we've only been working together for 6 months. And within that time, we determined 4 really key business objectives that we want to focus on. So the idea there is that anything we do forward should really ladder up to these different pieces that we want to accomplish. So the first was just making sure we were coming back with the real welcoming message, right? Making sure that we were communicating with diverse audiences and bringing in that really authentic, true messaging around Moab. We also wanted to make sure we were focused on increasing length of stay, right? We want to make sure that we're bringing the right visitor and that we're encouraging that visitor to stay longer and spend more. You know, really making sure that we're positioning, very similar to what Camp Stories talked about, making sure that we're positioning Moab as not a place to stop, but a place to stay. With that, really focusing in on our target audiences, making sure that we're connecting the right messaging with the right audience, and really tailoring that again to who we're speaking to. And with that, also, you know, moving forward with a really well-balanced media plan to make sure that we are introducing Moab to those who maybe aren't familiar with Moab, that we're getting them further down the funnel, developing that trust, making sure they understand the other things to do. And of course, we want to get them here too. So our media plan has really had a variety of those tactics to meet people where they are. So a little bit of a snapshot, we're really excited about this slide. So at this point in time, we have invested a little over $1 million in spend, right? So really coming back with a bang. A lot of the media campaigns that we have been running started in June, but really started to push July, August. So in that time frame, over 62 million impressions. We've had over 700,000 clicks. And when we talk about this robust media plan, we have 22 different media tactics, different media channels that we are pushing on. And again, that's because we want to make sure we're connecting with the right audiences where they are. We're really excited about the growth in website traffic year over year. So we've had 225,000 clicks to the site, or new users to the site, and all of that stems from that those paid efforts. Something else to celebrate is we have over 14,000 room nights that we can specifically attribute to our campaigns. So we're not bringing in, oh gosh, they were already going to stay here. Here's where we are. We can specifically tie those to our media dollars. Furthermore, right, we talked a lot about how we're introducing Moab. So we don't always necessarily have a ton of time on the website, right? When you're just kind of getting to know or raising that awareness, but we've had about 2.5 minutes on the website, which has just been really great. And also just celebrating this new website as well. And lastly, we talked a little bit about these 3 audiences, right? So we've created a lot of creative for those 3 audiences. So today, and I got to sneak some more in here because we just finalized winter, over 275 ads that we have created. So
Really quickly, just sorry to interrupt. Mick, how many did you have previous to mapping starting?
I don't know the number. The deck we circulated showed
A handful.
a handful. So it's far and away more than we were doing.
And so it's
The decks that I was looking at. And it's been great.
And just to give you an idea of how we think about that is every time we think about the ads, we're talking about what's the channel, what's the audience, and where are they at in the journey. So when we think about what Kayla talked about, discover, trust, and convert, that imagery changes and the message changes and everything throughout into those, and it changes based on which audiences and it gets to what is performing against.
We were not doing that previously. We would develop a set of ads and then push them out. So we're adapting the audience and performance as we.
yeah, and so with that, we talk about ads and advertorials, right? So we are doing a lot of investment into content too. So we want to make sure we're grabbing their attention. We also want to make sure we're investing in long format content, which in a lot of ways complements a lot of the work that the PR team is doing. This is just a little bit of a snapshot of some of that creative that we have done to date. So again, excited at the different pieces we're able to show and really grab attention, and seeing some great results so far from the creative.
Yeah, and so going into our paid media channels, we're really intentional with our buys. And so we balance it into discovery, trust, and convert. Really trying to lean into the discovery, which is inspire, awe, and curiosity at scale. Focusing on high impact storytelling, paid social, programmatic, and some digital out of home. And then we go into trust, and those are our deepening our credibility and building that connection with strategic content and collaboration there, along with influencer and just storytelling there with email and retargeting. And then we go into visit and convert, where those are our strong, capture those high intent travelers. So our OTAs, our retargeting messages, and our geofencing, really capturing that audience and making sure that they're converting and coming here.
Yeah, and so as we start to step into 2026, this is really the main focus of how we're building out those tactics and channels that we talked about, is keeping these things in mind, and again, making sure that we're messaging the right message at the right time.
Can you explain the acronyms? There are no KPIs and CTRs, but what is LOS, uplift, and ROAS?
Length of stay is LOS. What's the other one?
Return on ad spend is ROAS, and then was it SEO?
ROAS.
Yeah, return on ad spend. So essentially, like, we know that we have an attributable room night or something booked from it. And GOOH is digital out of home. That's out there.
CTR is click-through ratio, right?
Yes. And then the online travel agencies, so like TripAdvisor, the booking engines are the OTAs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Marketers love a acronym.
Love us some acronyms.
What's a real company?
Acronyms and pretty pictures, like I gotta take today out on the right here, so. Excited to draw up that one in. I wanted to zoom out just a little bit, you know, we see nationally a lot around the travel and tourism community, so. Want to just level set a little bit where other places are at and similar to destinations before just kind of diving in a little bit, so. As we think about what's happening across tourism writ large is that it's flat to down across the US is what we're looking at right now. We're seeing 8 to 9% decline for international travel that's out there. But consumers are still choosing to spend on experiences and travel over goods. Even as we come into the holiday season, they're planning to spend 11% less for goods and Christmas gifts this year, but they're only planning to spend 1% less on travel. All right. There's good news stories about us as continuing to have really affordable gas rates and falling national gas prices, especially when I think about road trips and where we're at here. So a really good story that is happening across national trends here. And the most important thing to remember is that even though you guys are seeing incredibly low rates right now, people aren't looking for cheap travel and they're not looking for cheap tickets. They're looking for valuable experiences where they're seeing value come out of it. So don't be afraid to hold some rates. Don't be afraid to hold, you know, your prices and maybe add discounts or coupon sort of engagements that don't lessen, you know, the value of what that experience is. So I highly recommend you do that because it's harder to rebuild rate after it's gone down than it is to hold it when you're in a space, and that's a few different studies have been done across the space. So the other piece that's happening, this is a consumer trend, is people are really looking for authentic or iconic. You heard it completely across the table here, that we want to tell stories, not because we want to tell stories, but because that's what the consumer wants. Because the consumer went back and they're like, oh, all these iconic brands, all these iconic things, what did that translate to? Long lines, poor experiences, we don't want you here. That's now what iconic means to them. And that's a space that exists. So as we get some of that detail and we get some of the research, we're gonna see how much that's affecting Moab specifically and what that is, but that's something we're seeing across trending in that space. You're also seeing more competitive environments than you've ever seen before from an outdoor recreation standpoint. There are a lot more communities that are going after your same traveler. So you're having to play offense and defense at the same time in terms of, you know, how do I get my new traveler? How do we reestablish a brand? But how do we defend who we've been as a community and our brand there? So a lot of things going on there in that space. And your team is thinking very thoughtfully about it across there of what's that mean for the brand? How do we think about who we are partnered with, who we show up next to, but also thinking about how do I drive real revenue this year to make sure that our community is fruitful and our businesses are open and we can, you know, collect taxes and everything that you have a mission to do. The last part here is that people have been shifting and changed their travel behaviors. It's not 2019 again. People now are choosing the experience with multi-generational travel. They're taking their kids out of school. We already know that they're having kids later. So that shoulder season, like this season right now, is a prime season to be talking to them and getting them there here. They're very much willing to travel for events, and that is a big change and shift. So when we talk about major events, I don't know if anybody here knows about those, but those are things that we're going to want to talk about and make sure that people are coming for. To get here, because that's a big revenue piece of how people are going, because they're part of a movement. They're not inconveniencing and being part of this like throng of unmanaged, unguided pieces, which really kind of comes to my last couple of points here, is that like people want that deeper connection, but they need help in understanding what that is. Like everybody is an ambassador for that person that comes in here. And they're looking for that guide, and I use guide incredibly loosely in this audience, but they're looking for somebody to help tell them the right way to go. They're trying to help them see, where should I go to something? They don't want to be an inconvenience most times. Some people are just dumb. That's a small group, and you can't solve for dumb, but we can solve for helping people make good decisions. And, you know, welcoming people and having those small conversations are so important for that great experience. So you know, a great opportunity there, and a great opportunity for you all as you look at your industry around guides. Guides get people to the uncrowded alternatives in ways that all of the media all the PR don't get there because it's hard to get there if you don't have a guide. So, great, champions, that you all have here across the space. So, highlight piece. All right, that's all I got.
Any questions for our Madden Media that's taken us to the finish line?
And I'm just gonna reiterate again that Dan is the CEO of Madden, and how many different tourism communities do you think you represent?
Yeah, we work with about 80 to 100 communities like this, about 25, 30 of them, and really good agency record sort of environments. And we do 50, 60 million of ads just for moving visitors to a destination. So we know how consumers engage. We know how consumers want to be engaged and what their travel behavior is. And frankly, I think we know the Western traveler more than we know anybody else that's out there, and to get them to vote.
But the fact that you as a CEO came, I really appreciate your taking the time to come here. So,
thank you, sir.
Come on, we're not gonna grill them a little bit?
What, I was just gonna ask, like, how do you put Moab first when you're representing all these other communities, like, how does that come into play?
Great question. So when we look at the consumer and the entire ad industry, the travel and tourism marketing is less than 1% of the total ads that somebody gets. So we're trying to capture and get that 1% for that performance there, to what that is. So it's not competitive at that level, right? It's not about trying to win one consumer or another. It's about how do I get that specific consumer to get that attention on a demand side platform or a real-time bidding auction or digital media or whatnot that's out there. There are placements that, are exclusive placements that we look at who's the best brand to bring next to a client to say, this brand works here. We're not shopping it around everywhere. Your bag right there is one of the ones that we had a conversation about there, coincidentally, is that there's potential brand partnership that we could engage there. Does that make sense? Is it aligned with brand? A lot of reasons say yes. From a budget trade-off, doesn't meet the business goals and objectives. That's a harder discussion that we're having in that space. So, everything is very specific around what matters for that community, and then how does our marketing work to achieve their specific business goals? Because your business goal is a different one than a Sun Valley maybe, or a Sedona, which similar destinations. We don't represent either of them, but like they would be a different kind of market, different brand, different story, different consumer that we look across that. Yeah.
Great, thank you so much. Do you have a question?
First-time visitors versus return visitors. Of course, first-time visitors are a lot more expensive to get than return visitors, and I didn't know what if there's a strategy, if there's a priority, what are the thoughts about that?
It's easier to get the return visitor. I don't know that we have a return visitor number. 60% of your visitors are return visitors. But you don't get a visitor if you don't have a first-time visitor, if you don't have a bucket list reason to get them, or they have a sightseeing reason to be here. So first-time visitors, we want them to be they're coming for their goal because they own a Jeep and they needed to come up here, and this is their trip that they're coming out there. We're Bronco to do the off-road. That came with it.
Every brand. We call them all brands. Sorry, if they we'll take any.
But they come out there and they get them to do that. We want to see those folks there. But once they're here, the first time, we would rather have the repeat visitor because they're not going to go to the same place. Like if they've already seen Arches, as an example, because it gets crowded, they're going to go someplace else. They're going to go try Canyonlands if they didn't get it. They're going to go, maybe they're doing the rafting trip that they didn't do last time, but they're like, wow, that's actually not Class 5 rapids everywhere. And I can take my, young kids on it. Those are conversations we think about marketing, but I think the repeat visitors more valuable, and they're more willing to generally, and this is generalizing a lot, they're generally willing to spend the extra day because they know what they're going to get out of it. Where first time visitor is like on the move, and they're a little bit more extractive.
We've got 40 plus trails for them to get out on. They can't do that today.
That's what I heard. I heard that there's a women's group that goes every month or every week that they've never gone on the same trail twice or something, and like.
Ladies off road now.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool to hear that too.
Yeah, we have lots of trails on
Sure.
Yeah.
Dan, thank you.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much. We now have the honor of being visited by Camille Johnson and Lacey Shumway from the Utah Office of Tourism. Utah, thank you so much for coming and being part of our 2-day extravaganza, and the goal so much is to work together, and I'll let you guys take over with the presentation of where we're headed and how we can best partner with Utah.
Yeah, Lacey's gonna give the presentation, but I'll just say, like, this has been so helpful to be here with all the agencies and to learn like what you're trying to do and how you're gonna collaborate, and I'm just grateful that we were invited, so just wanted to start off.
You can come anytime.
Well, I'll be back.
All right, so we're gonna shift a little bit because you haven't seen my presentation yet. And we're gonna talk a little bit more about what our team does. You were joined by Ben, who does the marketing on our team, and we'll go over that as well. But we are community and partner relations, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about that also. Overall, the Utah Office of Tourism is under the Governor's Office of Economic Opportunity. And this is our team. It's a big team. Our fearless leader, Natalie Randall, you might all know, comes out of San Juan County recently. And we've got a number of teams within our big team, our community and partner relations team. That's us, and we'll talk a lot more about that. We've got customer and team success team, a research team, global markets team, and then our marketing and communications team, which is huge for good reason. And our vision at the office is a state united in welcoming the world to experience awe-inspiring adventure. And our mission to accomplish this vision is to elevate life in Utah by advancing the visitor economy through marketing, stewardship, and destination development. And I highlighted that one there just because that is kind of where our team fits in, is the destination development. Our community and partner relations team, Camille is our fearless leader of that, and she is in Kanab. She works remotely from Kanab with, I say works remotely, but she travels a lot. Rachel Creer, she is our partner resource manager, and she lives up in Ogden. Michelle Evans, she's our grant specialist, and she is in Beaver. And then I'm the partner outreach and collaboration coordinator, and I live here in Moab. And then Diane Wilson, our administrative assistant, she is in Bountiful. And so we, as the partner and relations team, are kind of spread out around the state somewhat strategically so that we can better engage and understand our communities and work with our partners. So the community and partner relations team, we are working to enable community-led destination development and management through relationships, resources, and education. Those relationships, we work to establish and maintain collaborative relationships with industry partners and key stakeholders. Our partners are DMOs, destination marketing organizations. A lot of those are our counties. And so we've been working recently with Mick and Ali really well with our travel council boards, all of our partners here, as well as we'll go over a few more of those partners. But so that's within the relationships. Our resources, we provide resources for industry partners that promote developing and develop enduring resilient destinations. And then, sorry, I've got to move this real quick. Education, we empower and inspire local stakeholders to leverage resources and connect them to that, enabling them to achieve their goals and optimize their tourism economy. And we like to think of it as like a peer process as we engage our partners. We do this through a number of ways, but recently we've been doing, recently, it's been a couple of years, right, that you've been doing partner tours with the goal to get to every county and meet the partners and be in their space and just kind of assess what their assets are and what their challenges are and just get a better feel. And so that is actually why we're here today. And we reached out to Mick because we hadn't been to Grand County yet, and this is our partner tour. And what an amazing opportunity it's been to be a part of all of this and be able to connect Ben with all of this. And I know he's excited to, work with you all moving forward towards the same goal. Once we assess, we're hopefully able to support our partners by connecting them to resources, sometimes even developing resources through education that they can then activate. And it's just a circle of life there. Partnerships. A lot of times people ask us, well, who are your partners? We have a lot of partners. We don't necessarily say, no, we don't work with you. But just a few examples are nonprofits. We work a lot with nonprofits through our co-op marketing grant for events. Destination marketing organizations. Sometimes that's a nonprofit and sometimes that's our counties. State agencies, Division of Outdoor Rec, State Historic Preservation Office, and as well as private business and land managers. One of our resources, the co-op marketing grant, and I put this in here because you guys have faithfully applied for our co-op marketing program and taken advantage of that. It's the one-to-one matching funds for marketing campaigns available to all tourism related public sector organizations and nonprofits. We recently closed the most recent round in June, and you can get more information on our travel.utah.gov if you guys as a board ever want to learn a little bit more about that. The purpose is to leverage our state and partner funding to attract visitors, to increase tourism expenditures. And we're really lucky in Utah to have such a robust visitor economy and a diverse visitor economy. And so it's kind of fun. It was kind of fun to be on and see all of those applications and how many great things are going on around our state. Another resource that we have, an educational resource that is fairly new, is our tourism business development workshop. We had one in August that focused on astro-tourism and agritourism, which is great for a lot of our rural communities around the state. And then we will have another one in April 22nd and 23rd. We will have the same focus of astro-tourism and agritourism, but we're adding in the creative economy, so film and culture and anything creative. I mean, there's so many things that could work within that space. So definitely mark your calendars for that. And the goals, it's free. Thank you. And the goals of that workshop are to educate. So we had a lot of I think it was 54 different presenters that came to our last workshop. It's 2 days. Last time was 3 tracks. This one we might do a little bit differently, but still just as many breakout sessions. And just to really get all of those, we've got some collaboration committees to get all of those professional voices that can help our industry partners to inspire them with hands-on learning activities and experiences provided. It provided our attendees with the opportunity to experience those niche tourism segments firsthand. So we had agritourism experience dinner that they were able to go to, as well as an astro-tourism experience. And support, we've got toolkits, presentations, slide decks, and videography of the presentations are going to be provided as resources for continuing development efforts. Another educational thing that we have, a resource that we have, is partner toolkits that are being developed now. Some are already developed, some are being developed, like the dark skies, for specific niche tourism like agritourism, dark skies, and our Forever Mighty. There's also a lot of other resources on our website, this travel.utah.gov. If you guys will bookmark that as industry, there are so many things on that site. Our research team puts up, there's a data dashboard that has so much information. We've got our marketing campaigns and efforts, ways that you can collaborate with our office. So many fun things on there that if you would bookmark that, I think it would be super interesting to you all and helpful. And we also have our newsletter that comes out of our team. So if you want to use that QR code, or you can get through to it through the website and just stay updated on what we're doing in the Office of Tourism, Utah Office of Tourism, then that is the perfect way. And you can always just reach out to us. Like I said, I'm here and we're throughout the state, but also we're tied to our phones and our emails, so. And yeah, that's it. Camille, do you have anything that you want to add?
I was just gonna say for the agencies where you're diving into research and data, we have a really robust research tab and like it's great because you probably get already what's going on in Moab from these guys, their occupancy, their TRT, but you can see what other areas are doing as well. So if you see that Grand County's lagging, why? And then you're like, oh, everybody's lagging, or man, we're really knocking it out of the park. We're kicking butt here.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just nice for you guys to be able to have access to that. And like Lacey said, if you ever have any questions, reach out to us. We could even connect you with our research director. She's really, really great. And then again, to our campaigns, you can see the campaign creative ongoing and what UOT is doing and how you might leverage that.
Yeah. And like I said, this has been amazing. So thank you so much for letting us be a part of this experience. I'm excited to move forward.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah, I mean, I won't complain about going to Canyonlands.
No, never.
I have questions for you, Tufts of Tourism folks, any of you?
No, I'd just like to say if you are talking with the big wigs, tell them thank you so much for keeping the parks open.
Yes.
That was
No doubt.
absolutely huge, you know, that they stepped up. It saved a lot of businesses.
Agreed.
I know the grant fund was kind of cut back this year. Do you anticipate that being restored to its former glory? Was that a legislative issue?
That's a legislative issue. We don't expect a cut this year, knock on whatever this is.
Yeah, what is this?
But we're going to change the caps a little bit and recategorize. We do prioritize our DMOs, they're our most important applicant. But it's just so tough because the applications get better and better, and then when you see that fund go down, it's really tasks our committee to be really judicious and equitable with that and really give lift. So I know how important that grant is. I was a former applicant when I was with King County Tourism, and it really took us to the next level, so we know how important it is.
Is there anything we as stakeholders can help you? Can we lobby on your behalf to?
Yes.
Okay.
Always.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, really understanding how it trickles down to the communities, to the businesses. I think that really helps for them to understand. We did a bunch of video interviews over the last few months and put together a kind of like a sizzle reel to share with our legislators at the interim session. I think that's most powerful is like hearing from their constituents, the businesses, how it impacts them. And I mean, it gives the whole state lift when we're getting that top of mind awareness on an ongoing basis, keeping that brand positioning. And then you guys can leverage that at the community level, and then businesses can then leverage it. We all have kind of our place in that visitor journey loop, and you need us and we need you. So yeah, we would be so grateful for that.
Share one little comment real quick. I appreciate everything that you guys do and taking the time to come down here and visit us here in Moab. One of the things that I just kind of want to point out is as business is flat or business is on the decline throughout the state or throughout the country, what I think that you're going to see is things become more competitive, right? And I think that you guys are in a unique position to actually create more partnerships and relationships amongst the counties and the different destinations so that Utah stays strong. Right, because what you don't want to see is you don't want to see people going and saying, well, Richfield's taking our mountain bike business, right? It needs to be more of that partnership of like, hey, let's build these itineraries or build things up so that the ship is rising at the same time.
100%. Yeah, and honestly, we love that feedback too. If you're seeing some trends that are great or concerning, please let us know. That's really, really helpful. We love hearing from our partners, and we're always trying to get more engagement that way. So yeah, feel free to reach out anytime.
Of course.
Awesome. All right. Y'all.
You're not gonna
thank
grill
you.
us?
No,
You guys are just-
no, thank you so much. Guys, go enjoy. There's another 2 hours, an hour and a half of daylight. Go enjoy. If you have additional questions for us, I don't know if we're gonna touch bases or anything like that. If you want to stay, you're welcome to stay. If you don't want to stay, you are so welcome. We're gonna do some additional county business, so just let us know it's the same thing. All right. let's go on to, I'm gonna give you a second to, those of you who. And it's okay, gonna get, do you know the date of the Hill next year?
Six, yeah.
Just a second. Thank you again. Thank you, thank you,
Yes.
thank you. Coming.
Yeah.
Oh, are you good? Okay.
Gotta film our.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's going on here? What's your business? When things are on the rise, everything's trying.
I'm just pausing for a couple of minutes, just for a couple of minutes, so we can let everybody exit.
To maintain those relationships.
For sure.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the. We're first gonna do the board members review. It'll just be.
Selfless adventure.
Thank you, guys.
I'm on the board. Getting involved, but.
We're gonna move on to agenda item number 4. New board member interviews. I spoke briefly today with Lisa Knight, who is the general manager of the Hoodoo. And the Hoodoo is rolling out all kinds of, I believe, incredibly exciting things for Moab. When I moved here, there was no drive-through coffee and there was a different selection of overnight properties than we have now. But the Hoodoo is really striving for that gold or that 4-diamond experience. They will have valet service, so you can drive your car up and your car will be parked for you. They will be offering, you can order dinner in your room. What, room service, sorry. That thing, like I know what that is, room service. And they will, they have a concierge service. So we have, I believe, in our community, a need for overnight. Uh-oh,
It'll come back.
okay,
I
good.
was doing this the other day. Wait, just give it some.
Hold that thought. I'm gonna hold
Oh my
that.
God, I hope so. Please.
Ooh. Yes. Good job, Alan. Technology, I love technology. So anyway, they're gonna be gearing up to do a lot of these things. And she has asked me to thank everyone for the opportunity, but she has withdrawn her name and is going to focus on the amenities at the hotel. With that, the pressure's off. Michael, if you wouldn't mind coming and joining us at the table and just visiting with all of us. And if you would please introduce yourself and tell us about your background, where you work, what brought you to the community. I mean, I know that's a lot all at once, but it's easier if it's friendly. Go ahead.
My name is Mike Yule. I'm the general manager of the La Quinta Hotel here in Moab. I've lived in Moab for about 10 years now. I've been in the hotel industry pretty much my entire life. I started at a hotel in Salt Lake City. It was called Red Lion as a doorman. And when I graduated from college, I went to the University of Utah, but graduated from Weber State. And when I graduated with a degree in business administration, I thought, I really love this industry. And realized that I wanted to stay in it rather than move away from it. So I was at that point, I was the assistant bell captain at that hotel, 500-room property. And I moved over into their manager in training program. And they asked me where I would like to go to do my training. And I said, well, there's 2 places I want to go, Missoula, Montana, or Durango, Colorado. And so they sent me to Durango, Colorado, where I worked in Durango for about 3 years. Then they moved me to Portland, Oregon, where I worked at a property called the Jansen Beach Red Lion, sit right on the Columbia River. And we did have some boats that would come up the river, paddle boats. And we would bring the luggage up from the river and they would stay in the hotel. Later, I moved back to Salt Lake And left Red Lion at that point, became the general manager of a few other hotels, eventually opened one in South Salt Lake. It was an extended stay product. Then I moved to Logan, Utah, Cache Valley, and I opened a Hampton Inn there and worked there for about 12 years before I had the opportunity to come here. I've always had kind of a passion for the smaller towns that have more outdoor adventures to offer. And so, I mean, I came to my first Jeep Safari back, I think it was in '89, was the first one I came to, and just, really loved Moab at that point, was always looking for the opportunity to come here, but didn't have it until about 10 years ago. I kind of have since moved a little more away from the four-wheel drive experience and more to the hiking. And I really enjoy being out on the rock. I do a lot of solo hiking and I love being out there. But the other part of that is the interaction with the guest, and part of, being out there on the rock and then coming back to the hotel. The highlight of my day is sharing those experiences with other people. And kind of like some of the people, mentioned today, is the length of stay, getting people to stay longer. There's so many people who come in for, 1 or 2 nights. And if you have people working at hotels who understand other things, I've got a front desk person by the name of Martine, who is amazing at that. He's worked there for 10 years for me. He was my first hire. And he gets people to stay at my hotel more than one night, just constantly getting them to stay longer because he tells so many stories and has on his phone all these pictures of all these different places and where they can go. And he knows, I mean, he should be working at the information center over there because he knows so much and gets so many people to stay longer. But that's really the goal, is to keep them here longer. And so bringing the hotel aspect to this board, I kind of did that when I was in Cache Valley. Up there they have a general managers association that we met once a month, and I was the president of that for a couple of years. Then we also had the board of directors for the Cache Valley Visitors Bureau. I don't know if you know Julie Hollister.
Terrell, yeah.
Yes. And so I sit on that board and for a year or two, and helps, with kind of the approval process for people who are wanting money for different events and stuff like that. But coming from the hotel standpoint, I see the trends of, what they were talking about, how people are, occupancies are down and to some extent rates are going down a little bit. In seasons where really we've seen, when I got here, October 15th was it. Moab just kind of stopped right there. But we've seen a push now into November, and we can see right now, we're seeing same day pickup of 20 rooms, same day reservations. Like, we'll start out with a certain number and we'll pick up 20 rooms. Last time we picked up 25, same day. Unfortunately, a lot of them are one night stays, people passing through, but trying to gain that business, because right now the weather is perfect out there. And, and the rates at all the hotels are down. So this is a perfect time for most people to travel. It's not as hot. Their crowds are not here. I mean, so getting that word out there, and from a hotelier standpoint, that's important. And I see the value for Moab in having the people stay here, just from the tax basis and just as the community as a whole. I mean, without the tourism, I don't see that there is a Moab to a large extent. Because when you look at what most of the businesses in town, they're geared around the tourist. Whether it be the gift shops, the restaurants, the hotels, the outfitters, one way or another, the adventures that are out there. And that's, I like what they were saying earlier too, is that, we've got it from all aspects, the hardcore to the people who, can do nothing more than be in a four-wheel drive. And fortunately, we have the infrastructure for all of that here. I mean, we've got the businesses and being able to keep those businesses employed and open and maybe even grow more opportunities here. I think would only benefit Moab in the long run. So I guess it
I
went off on a tangent.
No, that's not tangential. That's getting to know your background. That's amazing. Tell us a little bit about what your understanding is of the travel council.
Well, my understanding of the travel council would be just
Oh, sorry.
that. just-
MTAB, we have a new acronym. Sorry, I apologize. I keep saying that. Moab Office of Tourism.
Just that, just to find ways to make sure that people understand what Moab is about and get them here. You know, I mean, listening to the people that were here from the different ones and telling those stories. You know, we do seem to do a big business when it comes to just the pass through. But the bigger business is those that are staying the 2, 3, 4 nights and actually going to the restaurants, not just staying in a hotel and then, you know, they stop at Maverick, fill up the gas tank and boom, they're gone. You know, we want the ones that are gonna go to the gift shops and stay. And there's way too much to see in Moab. To even think you can do it in 1 or 2 nights. I mean, this is like a repeat business. And so I think that's part of what, you know, this body is about, is finding ways to get more people to stay in Moab. Well, realize that Moab's here, and then stay longer and spend the money.
Awesome. I think you've touched on this just a bit already, but I have to ask everybody, all of us had to answer the same questions before we joined the board. What do you hope to bring to the travel council, and what are you hoping to gain from your potential involvement in the board?
I would say bring a perspective from the hotelier. You know, what the hotels, see and experience and kind of what, you know, we as hoteliers hope for Moab. So I guess just the hotel part of it.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, and for what I hope to gain from it, the experience, meeting other people, just, you know, I mean.
They're a good group.
And having input into helping Moab continue to grow.
And as the 9th member, I'm sure you all are aware and know that needs to be, to keep the balance, they need to be a TRT or TRCCA collector, and they truly are.
Yeah.
As that 9th member. Within the context of economic, I don't really think this one is so pertinent because our offices has divided. So I'm gonna pass that one. What do you think some of Moab and Grand County's best assets and attributes? You clearly do the trail running. That's helpful.
Yeah, well, and you know, speaking of trail running, I usually just hike all of this stuff. I'm not a runner really per se, but my son, took up marathons. So he came down to one of the Mad Moose Ultras and said, come on, you gotta go with me. So I did a 15K a couple of weeks ago out behind the rocks, and I didn't run the whole way, but I did finish. So it was fun. But you know, to that end, the attributes is, you know, there's just so many attributes for Moab and Grand County. You know, first of all, just the diversity of outdoors. You know, all the things that are out there that you can do. You can hike, you can mountain bike, you can be on the river, you can 4-wheel. I mean, you can rock climb. There's just so many different things that Moab has to offer from that standpoint. But then kind of what they were pointing out too is that, you know, there's the hotels that are here. There's the coffee shops that are here. There's the restaurants that you know, that's one of the things I always tell people is that for the most part, Moab, when you come here to a restaurant, you're not getting the cookie cutters that you're getting everywhere else you go. You know, there's so many places that you go and they've got, you know, the Chili's and the Applebee's and the this and the that. And, you know, here it's their own restaurants. And I think that's one of the biggest attributes too for Moab is that we don't have a bunch of cookie cutter restaurants in here. When people come here, they're getting an authentic experience. They're getting a one of a kind restaurant. And, you know, so again, it goes back to its multiple facets. You know, and even just like the music and the arts festivals and stuff like that, the Scottish festival that they had just not too long ago. I mean, it's just such a diverse things here that Moab has to offer.
Great.
So.
What is your understanding?
I do want to point out.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And I brought this up many times, and that's the cleanliness of our downtown. It is not clean by standards. You know, I go, like I've also overseen other hotels as a general manager of the company I worked for. They had other hotels, and I would go to those other hotels and oversee general managers in other places. And one of them was he owned a property in Durango. And I would go to Durango's downtown, beautiful. I would go through Cortez, Colorado, and they had people out there in the morning sweeping and watering plants and cleaning up. And then I come to our downtown because I live just over by Swanee Park. And so I walk up oftentimes at night to get a cup of coffee and just kind of enjoy being downtown. And I'll tell you, I love the downtown area, but we've got to clean it up. I mean, the trashes are overfilling. There's stickers on everything. You know, it's just not inviting. I mean, you're kind of downtown a little bit right there, and you probably see a lot of that too. And so that's the one thing that I think that, and I brought it up in, you know, the Chamber of Commerce meetings and meet the candidates and stuff like that. That for me is a passion too, is because I want when people to be here to say, wow, what a beautiful place. And I don't experience that for myself when I go and I see, you know, Grand County waste garbage cans sitting there that are, you know, that they're the same ones that are at my house. So.
You can get an update on that one from Jason.
There's no.
He's working on
No,
it.
they're working.
He keeps working on it.
Yeah. No, I agree.
It's open.
I agree.
It's open.
That's my old
Passion
team.
project, you and Jason together.
Well, I've told him, I said too in the meeting one time, I said, you got a sweeper, I'll go out and sweep at night
I
myself,
love
just give me
it.
the keys to it, I'll go.
I've said that. That's my dream job. 4 to 7 every morning. I'll go street sweep. It's like voting up the streets. Put on a cave at 4 in the morning. I think that's my dream job. Yeah.
Podcast.
Podcast. Podcast, exactly.
So.
All right, number 5, what is your understanding, and I think it's pretty deep because you're paying it every month. What is your understanding of tourism taxes and how those monies are to be distributed and allocated?
Well, you know, we've got a pretty high tax rate, 15.92% for occupancy, you know, for a hotel room is 15.92% the guests pay. And so that adds to their bill by quite a bit. And so, you know, us getting the money back from the state, so that we can spend it in order to improve things here, but also the advertising to get more business to come here. So you know, setting in Cache Valley when I was there, that was part of what Julie Hollister did, was she petitioned the state in order to get more money for Cache Valley so that we'd have more money to spend there on advertising, on projects and stuff like that. And that was part of what, when I was on the board there, is we approved people who came in and wanted money for their events. Let's just say, you know, Scottish event or Jeep Safari or something like that. They'd say, hey, we get funding for this, and we would approve it or not. So.
Sorry, I'm looking behind you. You got a character behind you.
Got a character. Got all kinds of hand motions going on. Are you prepared to serve as an officer of the advisory board if, and is there anything in your schedule that would not permit you to attend board meetings the second Tuesday of the month and any special meetings? Sometimes we have workshops, not very often, but we've been lucky enough to hold 2 or 3 this year to when we have things that we really need to dig into and need an extra hour. We try really hard to be sensitive and choose times that people can attend, but do you see a conflict if that's the case? Okay. Well, does anybody now have questions for Martha? Come on, this is your chance.
We have one applicant.
Wonderful, and very well qualified, and I'm
Yeah.
delighted, I'm delighted.
I just want to thank you for putting your application in and, you know, I know you through the Chamber of Commerce and excited for to be on the board.
Thank you.
Would the group feel comfortable voting today, or would you prefer to put this off till next month? We talked about doing both, but go ahead.
I'll make a motion to appoint Michael to our advisory board
make a motion to appoint. Is there a second?
Second.
Recommend an appointment to our advisory board.
For a vote.
All those in favor of adding Michael to our December meeting, and they're on, please raise your hand.
Aye.
Is there anybody online, anyone? No, I think we're unanimous. Rebecca and Rebecca's at a conference and Sharon is stuck at Arches counting merchandise, and we do have a quorum that's unanimous. Welcome, 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 welcome. We'll let you know, and we'll get your email and send you information out for the December meeting. You're welcome to stay and continue. We're gonna have just a couple other little items.
So, yeah.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
What's that?
And you go to the commission the next meeting?
Yep, it'll have to go to the commission and then.
Oh, apologies, you continue, go ahead and say, yeah.
Yeah, it'll go to the commission and then from there, we'll have to figure out what the terms is on this one.
Oh,
Because
okay.
it will kind of fall a little bit outside of the terms that we have right now. So I'll get with Dana and Mark and just make sure that the terms are set up for this, because it's, right now, it's like every 2 years that we kind of like normally do it. 4 years,
It's a
we're on like
4-year
a 2-year cycle, so 2
Right.
years,
Yeah.
3 people were coming up, and then every 3 years, I'm sorry, and the next 2 years, they're like 4 people. So I'll just have to find out how this one.
That policy stuff that I love, that's all about that, and he will help you. You guys are gonna
So,
get.
but we'll get it figured out and see where that lies at.
So as, you know, here I am ready to like, oh yeah, but we do have to make sure that the commission. votes.
Yeah, so it's not official until they vote.
Exactly, but please stay. And I don't
Feel
know
free to-
if this is allowed or not, but I wanna say hi to Mark that snuck in here. Thanks for joining us,
Yes.
Mr. Steen.
Mark, how are you?
Mark Steen,
Mark Steen.
Mark Steen.
Add his name to one of those characters to be interviewed by your people.
I 100% agree.
He's on the list.
Someone knows to follow you guys.
He actually
He's
is
on
at
the
the
list.
top of the list.
Yeah. He's
We
on.
just have to coordinate times.
Yeah.
And if you all, this is Mark Steen.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, good. All right, moving on, our agenda is the special events marketing grant application process, which our subcommittee thankfully has taken over on. We've got a presentation coming. Cora is, Cora's technologically savvy and putting the. And Howard and Sharon is not able to be here today, but I know there's a consensus, and Brian, go ahead, you can take over from here.
Yes, so our special events marketing grant committee, all met. And we looked over some of the past applications and I was able to compile that into a Google form. So that we can easily share the information between people, have it consolidated, so we're not losing papers. And then also individuals that are applying can upload documents into the form so we can have those. I was able to test this through our electric light parade registration, so it works. So you'll see email, name of event or organization sponsoring the event, person responsible for the event, or the primary contact person, secondary contact, because I like contingencies. Mailing address, city, state, zip code, office number, cell number, event website, event social media handles, event date or dates, plural, event time, location, and then is this a new event? Yes or no? Or has it been held at other locations previously? Have you applied for funding in the past? If you have received funding in the past, please list the year and amount, total grant funds requested. And this is to submit the budget breakdown, which Brian was able to develop a document so that we have a template. So we're not looking at a bunch of different budget formats, so it'll be
Nice.
across the board. So
Nice.
thank you, Brian, for that. And I
Thank
believe
Dana.
Dana also took that credit there, so
Yeah.
thank you, Dana, if you're listening. Upload a letter of financial commitment. Please check below to indicate that you agree to complete your free event listing page found at discovermoab.com. Upon returning your signed contract. Any questions so far before I continue? Okay, moving right along. Please check that below to indicate that you agree to provide expense receipts, event description, daily schedule, vendors, details, etc. Anticipated attendance. What percentage of attendees do you anticipate being Grand County residents? Anticipated number of room nights generated. Will the event still occur if grant funds are not awarded? Have you submitted an intent to apply ITA through e-approval with a link to that? And then, very last question, please provide a single paragraph synopsis of your event that can be used for promotional purposes. So hopefully make Ally and Mick's job that much easier. And then email, I'll just stop sharing. Any questions about that?
I think, I also neglected to say that Wendell has also been the one to start with getting this, this has been a process, guys. I mean, we have had such a heavy lift this year, and I'm so grateful that we can kind of be addressing this at this point in the year. And I know there are a lot of procedural things, and Brian can probably talk to a lot about the rules that are gonna go along with the stipulations. If you can take it.
And just real quick, I'll just kind of start off with maybe just an introduction so that we kind of let the public know what this grant is once again. So this was a vote by this board right here to issue $250,000 for a marketing matching grant for 2026. Okay, so what organizations will be able to do is they'll be able to apply for this grant and it will be a match. So if they say that we want to put $10,000 in, the county would match your advertising with the $10,000 grant for your event. Okay, so that's where we're at with this right here. We've also asked Camp Stories and Madden to help us out with casting a wider net, so that not only is it just the events that we have, but we can be looking towards bringing in new events. Especially as it's been discussed, is in our off-peak times of year. So rather than, you know, just our travel in April, May, and June, and September, October, be looking for those shoulder season months so that we're bringing travel in during those times right there. So that's what part of this incentive is for. But we also brought that grant up from, I think last year it was 60,000?
77.
70,000. So it was at 70,000. We've raised that to 250,000 so that we can also be looking for different size of events. Right, so it doesn't mean that we have to spend the entire 250,000, but it does give us some options if somebody comes in and has an interesting proposal that might be well for the community. We developed this right here so that Madden and Camp Stories has a place to go ahead and start advertising this right here so that we can start advertising for these events. And we'll be looking for a place on the Discover Moab site where this can live. I'm sorry, on the county site where this can live. We're gonna try to keep them off of the Discover Moab site because it's a consumer facing site.
Do you have a deadline?
We're gonna have to talk with Camp Stories and with Madden to see where we're gonna be at with that. We were originally talking about a 2-month window for them to advertise, right? And then we would go ahead and then we would basically review all of these. The reason that we want to get it kind of nice and uniform, and I really want to thank Cora because me and Howard kind of sat out there and we were talking about each of these things, but she did all the work. Getting this form together. So it was good. And it was late at night too. So like I have to say, like we were all like, okay, are we there? And it's like, nah, let's just knock it out. And
I was ready to be a bishop.
yeah, she was ready to get it done. So she took the bull by the horns. Anyways, what we want is we want something that's nice and uniform so that subcommittee can meet again. And if I did have one recommendation, it is when this board does go to 9 members, if we could add one more member to that board, because it is a lot of work. And I think it would be helpful to have a 4th member inside of that. That way we can go through and basically set a section of criteria. So if this board here could come up with 10 things that we would like to rate right on these things, they can at least put these applications in order, right? So that when the board kind of has to go through and sit here and go through like all of these applications, we can have the top 10 best. Or these ones right here did not meet the criteria, and they'll have to go reapply. And then we can go ahead and let them know, hey, you guys missed this or this happened. But I do think that it would be helpful if we had the criteria that we're basically guiding on. So right now where this application is at, is you got the application, but I think that we kind of need the rules and the guidelines for the grant to be produced. And then attached in the packet was 2022's and 2023's previous rules and grants. I'm sorry, rules and guidelines. So I think that we should go through that, make sure that it's something that we all agree on for this process right here. And then also, I think that we should include what the criteria are for the grant, so people who are applying know what they're applying for. So if they're applying for a desert rave in May, maybe that might not be something that this board thinks is something that would fit in Moab. Or maybe that they do. I mean, I don't know.
I do have this draft criteria.
Oh, you do? Oh, that's perfect. That would be great to share that. So anyways, that was just a quick little introduction.
Yes, and Ally shared some website examples, and I personally really like Heber Valley's website for the marketing grant, so I encourage you to look at that if you haven't already.
Can I ask a question?
Mhm.
May I even ask?
Sure.
Is this work, the questions in tandem with the event that has already being applied for? And is there, you know, they have to apply for an event to get the event, and then once they get that event, then they can potentially apply for this marketing grant on top of that. But does this work in tandem with that? So it's not double the work for whoever is going through to make sure that the event is happening? And is it the same questions? Is there a similarity? I don't know what the event, the Grand County events thing looks like.
You're talking about what are the similarities between this application and the ITA?
No, the permit, like the event permitting program, like I want to
Which
put
is
on,
the intent to apply would be the start of the permitting process.
okay, I'm just,
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not
Right, maybe I'm
asking
not.
the question the right way.
Well, are you getting at like, what do you apply for first? Do you apply for your marketing money or you apply for your permit? And how do they talk to each other?
Yeah, are they talking to each
That's what
other?
I'm concerned
That,
about.
because I'm talking, right, because we have Deep Safari here and he's
Right.
like, I wanna spend $10,000 on marketing, but I want to match grant, but he's also had to apply for his permit to have the event go off.
Right,
So that's why we have the link in there for the ITA, right? So you know, you can apply for this in first quarter, is what we've done through, and that's why I said we need to go through the rules and guidelines. So first quarter of each year, you are basically, we'll have our decisions made in first quarter of each year. And then that's gonna go for 18 months right there. So that basically covers all for that year and that following spring right there. And so then the next grant cycle would start again in December, and then that would go through first quarter of that year as well. Does that make sense? Now, everyone should apply for this grant that wants to do it, as well as they're gonna have to, you know, if they're gonna be applying for this, they're gonna have to receive their permit from the county as well, right? And that's why I said we have that link right in there to make sure that they know that it's going to be a required. How are we gonna check with that? We have Jenny Beth in the office right here, and we'll just double check to make sure that the events are happening. It'll also be probably a requirement, that's something that we'll need to discuss on when the disbursement of the funds are, right? So we would not want to disperse funds until they've been, until the event has happened. So it'll probably be a reimbursement style of a grant, rather than we're gonna give you $10,000 upfront and then the event doesn't happen, or which could also be a case is, you know, we disperse $10,000 in grant, the commission decides, no, this is not going to be in grant, an event that can happen, and then we're in a total bind right there. So we'll have to look at all those little things as we're building that policy up.
And at this point, you go ahead.
Yeah, I think they'll work in tandem, you know what I mean? They're not gonna get this marketing grant money unless they've received the approvals to actually have the event. But to reiterate the 18 months, because we're running late this year, we're actually gonna extend into 2027 for opportunities.
I mean,
And
just
it's gonna
about,
be,
being clean, clear and concise as to what the time limits are and frames for people who have never heard of this before in promoting it, so that everyone knows exactly what they're up against and what they have available to them.
So my understanding is the subcommittee came up with this form to be introduced to this group, but now we need to present rules and procedures, which needs a meeting or two more.
It might need another workshop.
Another workshop, okay.
But, I mean, yeah, we need to get the guidelines set up. I think that's where we're at in this process, is we need the guidelines set up, and then we're going to need, well, we came up with some criteria. Maybe we could knock that off in this meeting if you guys have the time to go through and say, hey, are these the guidelines that we basically want to be bringing people in? Just giving them the idea of where we're gonna score kind of those grants.
And as much as I love to hear the board member reports and I have plenty to say, I personally think getting to taking care of some of this business is more important. Can I just have a head nod if everybody's okay if we keep working on this for a minute rather than hear about how your day was? Let's keep going.
Okay, so for the scoring criteria, we have 6 bullet points. The first one, quality of proposed marketing strategy. Second, potential to increase overnight stays and evidence of local lodging partnership. 3, expected revenue and positive economic impact generated. 4, projects aimed at attracting more visitors during the shoulder season. 5,
Share screen, or do you just wanna?
no. It's in my email. Okay. Thank you. Number 5, how crucial is this grant funding to the success of the proposed campaign? And lastly, strong community support and involvement. I'm happy to repeat those if needed.
How do you guys want to proceed? Do you want to? We can vote on the application and then have a workshop around all of these criteria, because I think it's really important to get the policies and procedures buttoned up so that we don't have community members wondering where and when and how. We can do a workshop about that. I know that things have been really busy for everybody, but it's also probably a really good idea to do that in the next couple of weeks so we can get this moving forward. And we can vote all at once if you like. What is the feeling of the board?
Let's get it done.
For a workshop.
All right, so what we
Yeah.
need to do is look at a calendar and workshop all of these issues and get it done. The December meeting, I think, is.
Before the
For Thanksgiving.
meeting.
Yes, I definitely want to have a workshop for the meeting. The next meeting looks to be the 9th of December. Are Tuesdays still good for everybody? So that gives us the 18th or the 25th. Can we do the 25th?
Christmas?
That's Christmas.
25th of November.
Just a note that Mick and I will be out of the office for the next 2 weeks.
Oh, boy.
You can do
So
it without us.
when
You
do
do
you
without us.
leave? When do you depart?
Thursday. and-
Okay, that's not enough time to notice. Have Dana.
But do we need to be there?
No.
You don't have
You guys
to.
have done
It's
this
just-
independently.
Yeah, and Dana can host it.
really.
And you're back then on the 27th?
It's Thanksgiving.
So you're back for Thanksgiving? I hope.
No,
Not.
well, no, we're both gone Thanksgiving week, but we're back December 1st.
Do we need to?
I mean, we can do it, I mean, it's just I think it's a workshop, I think we're,
Ahead of the meeting.
Yeah.
either ahead of the meeting, or I think we could just do it on the 25th. And come up with the guidelines.
So the 25th is like a couple weeks
In 2
before the
weeks.
meetings. So do you want to, are we proposing the 25th at 3 o'clock in this room to do our workshop around? And if the subcommittee needs to to meet in advance of any of that, you guys are welcome to do that. You're not a quorum, so we can certainly have your subcommittee meet if you need.
Yeah, I really think that this needs to be a board decision,
Okay,
rather than just the subcommittee kind of moving forward with it. There's just quite a few decisions on how we really want to see this play out.
all right. Does anybody want to move to have a workshop on the 25th?
The Tuesday, which is the Tuesday before Thanksgiving.
Indeed it is, yes. So yeah, if you're leaving town for Thanksgiving, that might be, is that troublesome for
It's
anybody?
not really close to Thanksgiving, isn't it?
Yeah,
It is.
we can do the 18th, but it would have to be earlier in the day because I do know that this room's taken for the commission meeting at 3 o'clock.
And I'll be out of town on that day. So, but you can, Wendell, if
But-
you're here on the 18th, you're welcome to run the workshop.
Yeah.
If you like.
Yeah.
Is that preferable, 18th? Because you said, we've got the 18th of November or the
Next
25th.
Tuesday.
And people feel like the 25th is butting up against Thanksgiving too much.
I'm good out of the way.
I won't do it next week.
I think, let's say it again.
I'm good out of the way. I can do the 25th.
Let's do the 25th because you won't be able to be here. I won't be able to be. Let's do the 25th. How about the 25th at 3 o'clock? We'll have a workshop here.
You have to check if this room's available.
I will. Yeah, and if it's not, we'll
We can
find a
move
place
over
with
to-
an owl. We need to vote on this?
I don't know if you can, because it wasn't on, well, no, actually it was on the agenda.
It is on the agenda.
Yeah, you guys can vote on it.
Would anybody,
Available.
the room is available? Would anybody like to make a motion? Have a meeting on the
I'll
25th?
make a motion that we have a workshop meeting on November the 25th to discuss the special fund marketing grant.
3 to 5.
3 to 5.
Motion made
Second.
by Alex and seconded by Howard. Okay, all those agree to have a workshop on the 25th at 3 o'clock, say aye and raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Are you, is that a yes, Jason? Oh, yeah, that was a yes. Sorry, it was a left-handed yes. That's unanimous. We will have that meeting at 3 o'clock. All right, we have still 15 minutes left. We can do a quick board report. Go ahead.
I was just gonna share with you guys, if you're interested and it's helpful, we have our co-op marketing grant. You're welcome to rip off and steal any of those guidelines if they're helpful and applicable to your local grant.
That would be wonderful. And that's on that same
Yeah,
website. travel.utah.gov. Okay.
And then look for co-op and it has all.
It's under resources. Awesome. I'm gonna start with my board member report. I am thrilled to have been able to hear the presentations of all of the talent that's been here. I know I'm repeating myself, but the last 2 days, trying to think about where we've been, where we're going. It's really wonderful to have some momentum. This board has worked really, really hard, and so many community members have worked so hard to elevate tourism in Grand County. It makes me proud to be participating in tourism in Grand County again. As Jason said, October was surprising. I think it's the only month of the year that we in our business have exceeded our 2024 numbers. And yay. I'll take one of those. It's a lot of work, and it seems that there might be some momentum. The Utah tourism has played a huge role with the governor's office, with the federal folks. I've written many text messages to John Curtis, thanking him for thank you, in spite of the shutdown, that we are not shut down. And I don't have a governor's text, but I'm just grateful that we've had the opportunity to do business. That's my report. It's joy. Yay, thanks.
Me?
Go next, Tim.
Oh, a lot, actually. I will say that I've been looking at our data sets, looking at the last 4 years in December, which is the end of year. And our average occupancy has been declining by 3 or 4% every single year since 2022. So all the work we're doing now will hopefully arrest that demise, and we can start restoring our average occupancy. I'm really excited about Canyon Spirit. Just so you know, we had Reba McIntyre on the train last week as a paid promotion, who's going to be selling Canyon Spirit. We were also advertising on the Jeopardy show because we were very much a 55 plus type of clientele. And so to see the Canyon Spirit, broadcast on a Jeopardy question and hearing our Utah host talk about it, but they've put an extensive amount of marketing into Canyon Spirit. And to be honest, that benefits everybody in Moab because it delivers hotel rooms, multiple nights, everything we're talking about. It also introduces people that we don't really target about Moab. And I say this because I'm frontline, and I ask the guests who are on the motor coaches how many times they've ever been to Moab before. And it's astounding how many nobody's been here before. So I see that as a tremendous opportunity to encourage these guests to come on the train, which they do, but to come back. And that's going to be our goal in Moab Station, is once we have them, we're actually using Thompson Springs as a train station next year because the train is going to Salt Lake City. And hopefully the state is listening, but we need a left turn at Crescent Junction rail left turn to bring potentially a commuter rail line to Salt Lake City. So I believe that what Canyon Spirit Rocky Mountaineer is doing here is pioneering, bringing back railroads and bringing those type of guests to our community, because they're probably the lowest impact highest spend. And probably, I think you just took a trip on the train.
No, I'm so sorry. I gotta tell about that.
Yeah, you can,
I'm getting
I'll defer to you.
conflicts, but my husband and I were able to go from Denver to Moab. And I will tell you, I have a very high adventure, high activity, high concussion rate husband. You know, the MMA fighter, all these things, and I'm like, oh, how's this gonna go? He must have said 10 times, I cannot believe how much I'm enjoying this. This is truly amazing. He was pacing a lot. So, you know, you can do that on the train, but he just could not find one thing that he would have improved. He just said it was the most spectacular experience, and he was very proud. But you know, I'm a cheerleader. I'm always proud and happy. But he just said, I just cannot believe this product that we have been gifted with in Grand County. It was really remarkable. And Howard said, go when the leaves are nice, and they were just beautiful. It was really something special. So thank you very much for we will be advertising that product just because you can't not. It was just really great. So great.
It's a really exciting time for the company because they're actually expanding, and we're a Canadian-owned company. So to see this relationship develop between Colorado and now Utah and Salt Lake City, they are very ambitious too, and their number projections are astounding of what the volume that we're going to see increase by 2027. This year we had about 9,000 riders on the 2-day route. The anticipation is in 2027 we'll have 25,000 people coming through Moab, 2 directions twice a week. So the potential is great. It's, as I say, it defines all the quality aspects of our visitors: multi-day stays, high spending, educated, very impactful. Most of our guests are asleep, they're asleep by sun, the sun goes down 8, 9 o'clock. So they're not rabble rousers. And honestly, most of the guests are blown away by Moab, and I guarantee you that as we go forward, we're going to see a lot of repeat, not just to this area, but to the state as they travel through the area. So it's exciting to see this happening in Moab.
So when does the Salt Lake line go live?
It's next year. So next week, actually, we have another media preview journey that's going to do a full run of the journey from Denver to Salt Lake and back. So on the way to Salt Lake, we have invited, I think, about 30 people from media that will be doing promotion for Moab and Salt Lake and Glenwood and Denver. And then we have our top brass coming through next week to preview the whole experience. But we're adding so many more hotel room nights, tying in with our partners here. And it really shows how working together with, Moab Adventure Center, car rentals, you name it, our guests touch. And ironically, they don't bring their cars with them, so they're not noisy. So it's really exciting to see. We talk about Mr. Steen, his father. My gosh, every time we come through, that's the legacy of this community. We actually portray Moab as the all-American town because we keep the world safe, thanks to nuclear. We feed the world because of potash. And most people, when I tell them that, I tie it in that there's only 2 potash plants in the United States, by the way. One is in Moab, one's near the Great Salt Flats. Moab feeds the world. And then the last part of that is I always do and said, let me guess, you're pursuing your happiness on this journey, right? And they're all like, yeah.
Moab, we get a lot of recommend there.
Well, we send a lot to you.
We get a lot at Sense of Grill, and I start to tell the story about Charlie Steen, and then, we've already heard it. We heard it on the train. Yep.
Lacey, do you want to contribute anything?
Oh, no, you guys.
Just for memories.
I do. It does feel a little bit like coming home. But you guys are doing great work. I'm like just so impressed with all of the things that you guys have going forward. So
It's been a good year. It's been a good year. Thank you for that.
Howard, quick question. Will the Salt Lake line stop at all, or is it just clear run from Salt Lake to?
Here's the reason why we are not a commuter rail line. Commuter rail lines require insurance you cannot believe. We are an excursion train.
Right, but on the Denver line, you stop in Glenwood.
That's an overnight.
Right. But that's what my question was. So Salt Lake line is not going to be an overnight. It's just one.
Salt Lake will start their journey in Salt Lake around it there. The overnights will be in Moab and Glenwood Springs.
Got it. Okay. Cool. Okay. Restaurant world it's been pretty good. Yeah, we better real strong October. We had a really busy last week. Halloween weekend was kind of a dud, which is kind of funny, but I think because it was on a Friday. and no one was really traveling, but. Anyway, yeah, visitors, everyone's happy, the weather's been awesome, so I think it's, we have a lot of things coming together for us this fall. I think everyone's been stoked. As far as like customer sentiment and, activities and, yeah, this whole situation is going really well, so. Yeah, I'm feeling good for the
And
season.
once again, I'm forgetting to say things because I didn't write it all down. We had a phenomenal lunch at 9
Oh,
dinner
thanks.
yesterday. It was such a warm, welcome, wonderful. I mean, it was so, thank you so
Yeah,
much
sure.
for opening the restaurant for our group. That was just
Yeah,
wonderful.
well, I wish I could have stuck around a little bit longer in class, but, everyone had a good time and you had the whole restaurant to yourselves, so nice.
It's
And,
wonderful.
yeah, having Kenzie and Megan running around, they're always great, you know, good folks to treat you well.
Wonderful.
Yeah, thanks. Jason?
Moab City update. So a couple things, city, you'll see that, we started putting up Christmas lights downtown. We started about 3 weeks ago, it seemed like.
It was early.
Those are all new lights. So, city spent, $34,000 or budgeted $34,000 to spend on lights, to try to kind of spruce up Main Street and stuff. When I could talk about garbage cans are coming. Garbage cans have been ordered. They should be here any day now. And we got garbage cans that we can wrap them. They have 4 panels on them that we can, you know, we can wrap, so we can wrap them with, you know, stay hydrated, you know, maybe probably come to you guys see if you want to come up with something to advertise. You know, we could have school kids draw, pictures of arches, you know, make vinyl, you know, things on them, you know, and wrap them and stuff for different events or whatever, so that's really good. And then we, as I've kind of reported before, we just approved $420,000 to start, doing sidewalks. And probably, and this is something that we've been working on for 2 or 3 years. We put it out last year and we got no bids back. So we brought it back in, we reworked the project, kind of broke it up into sections and put it out to bid again. And we got a contractor to bid on it. We got two or three, and we approved a contractor and hopefully they will be starting soon to start doing sidewalks. One of the main sidewalks we want to do is in front of the information center because of Rocky Mountain, and where they're dropping off people in that section there. I had someone come in and you're preaching to the choir. Like we had someone come in, a little lady came in and from Rocky Mountain, and she goes, "Does it snow a lot here?" I'm like, "No, not really." She'll see Gladys, they used to have bad sidewalks, you know. She was telling me that you guys must have terrible winters because the sidewalks are just terrible, you know. I'm like, no, I was spending a lot of money fixing sidewalks, you know, it was embarrassing, you know, and stuff. And so, we are kind of trying to get those projects going and stuff. And, then started to work with the county on lights, Lions Park, you know, stuff. And so, yeah, so good things going on.
Go ahead, because
I'm not a board member, but I would love to it's been a really great couple weeks. I'm just pitching Saturday night at Star Hall is the Moab film competition. As my annual film competition that I put on, I have 11 short films that are going to be premiering Saturday night at Star Hall. A handful of them are out of the Wasatch Front. Bunch of them are repeat filmmakers from the local area, and 3 high school teams are doing it as part of their Q2 grade. So 3 Grand County high schools, and doors open at 5:30, screening starts at 6. I was lucky enough to get sponsorship from Red Cliffs Lodge again this year and Megaplex Theaters, as well as the Utah Film Commission as part of their grant opportunity. So Moab Saturday night, Star Hall, please come up. It's really fun. It's always a packed house. I try to MC it really fun style, and it's great. So please come to that.
Can I go cheer for my 2 interns?
Please do. It's a free event. You don't need tickets.
I'm gonna
and
skip
you just have to show
over
up.
Brian's. Go ahead.
Yeah, just real quick, so we had our first budget workshop at the county at the last November 5th meeting. When we went through that, there was a lot of discussion on that $250,000 admin fee that was added in. And there was, some discussion on some other departments as well. So that's something that the commission is gonna be looking at, and I just wanted to let you know that we did follow up on that right there. There's also, a couple of other things that'll be coming up in this next commission meeting. We'll have an MOU, that's gonna be with the state of Utah, for a motorized trail crew. So that's something that's gonna be interesting to see evolve. And there's also gonna be some talks about some housing, a LIHTC project that's gonna be coming in. So there'll be I believe there's gonna be a presentation on that, on a LIHTC project that's looking to happen in the city, that's looking for some some gap funding. We actually do have some housing or some fees in lieu of housing that are available. So this will be, I think it'll be an interesting commission meeting to watch coming on up. And then we'll also have a budget workshop earlier that day.
And that's next Tuesday.
That's next Tuesday, correct? Week from today.
I love it. Thank you for the report. Go ahead.
Yes, so we had a spectacular, super fun chamber banquet on Saturday, and a couple of you were able to attend, thank you. And now right on to our holiday festivities, so Friday, December 5th, we have our tree lighting ceremony in Swan Park. Santa will be there. So you can get cocoa, cookies, we'll have caroling and photos with Santa. And then Saturday night is our electric light parade that many of you are familiar with. I have a Google form that I took before for registering for the parade. So if you haven't seen that, find me. I will give you the QR code that you can share with everyone in town. Please do. And we have reversed the route this year. I don't know if you've heard of that. So it will start at the Center Street Ballpark and then go around reverse route on Main Street to Swanee Park. So we'll end at Swanee Park and we'll have that opportunity for a community gathering. Some of you know that way back, Moonflower would host a community dinner at Moonflower. The last one was 2019 when I first moved here. So Maggie reached out to me and they want to host that, but at Swanee Park. So it's shaping up to be a really nice local feel celebration.
Feel the dump tank.
In December, sure.
Yeah.
And then.
Oh, yeah, no, just to bring this up forward, because you guys did approve the money for the lights for the bridge. So that contract is about ready to get signed. So, we have someone that will be coming in and doing the work. And so they'll be lighting up the 4 trees that are there in front of Swanee Park. And then they're also gonna be lighting up the pedestrian bridge that crosses the Colorado. And they'll be putting up some big snowflakes on the arches. There'll be a big vestibule that goes over the top of it. And then a giant selfie, like delicate arch at the entrance of it. So it should be pretty neat. Yeah, we're talking about, that's it right there. We're talking about, December 4th for the lighting of that. So that would be just before the,
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
so that we can try to put on.
Tell all the merchants to stay open a week in December so
Yes,
they can attract the attention,
on that note,
right?
I'm working on getting permission for, from the city for a sidewalk sale so that the chamber can have like a blanket permit for everyone, so not every single business has to.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Nice. Love it. Love it. Good job. Yep, we're doing stories. I know it's 5:03 and everybody's got, oh, I'm so sorry, Widow. Oh my gosh, I'm talking so much. Never forget, I just overlooked.
I'll do it quickly. I just want to reiterate what Lori said. The last 2 days, yesterday was an all-day event and I couldn't be more proud. I think I used the word proud to you guys yesterday. It just felt, I don't know, to have the momentum we've built and are building and the fact that businesses are busy, doesn't surprise me because of the work that's been done. Madden presenting the numbers that the outreach, the number of visitors, unique visitors, the number of hotel room stays. They've been doing such great work. You guys have been doing such great work. And then to have the event last night on top of a whole day of meetings it was great to have the community there. It was great to have you guys there, the Utah Office of Tourism, all these great minds representing Moab. And with this small little town in the middle of nowhere, to have all these really amazing companies and people representing us who are going to bring such amazing I don't know, just wealth of experience that, we bring everything to the table, but they bring a whole nother level, which is I'm very excited about. Yeah, it's great to see town busy. I mean, it's refreshing. I mean, the tourists bring energy to the town too. I mean, it's a fun time and great weather. My plug is that the Friends of the Children's Justice Center, I'm the chair of that. It's a nonprofit. The Children's Justice Center does a lot of amazing work for this community, for the children and families of this community. There are gaps in some of the services they can provide. So last year we founded a nonprofit called the Friends of the Children's Justice Center. We are sponsoring the open house of the brand new Children's Justice Center house on Friday, this 2 days. What's today? No, 3 days, this Friday. At the new Children's Justice Center house. And if you want more information, you can go to our website, the Grand County Children's Friends of the Grand County Children's Justice Center.
Remind me the time on that,
Pardon me?
the time.
2 to 4.
Okay.
2 to 4 o'clock on Friday.
And I know I'm trying to wrap up without keeping you too late, but I can't let another meeting go without saying our thank yous to Ali and Nate.
Yes.
What, and the fact that you don't have, I'd almost feel bad if you did have the minutes done. Like, oh my gosh, you have put so much, it was a flawless organization. Everybody, Brian, all of this with absent a director, and I just couldn't be more grateful. Yay.
So, yeah, there was a lot of planning.
Yay.
And
Yay.
it was
Yay.
it was perfect. Everything was
Yes, everything was just lovely, and thanks to the entire group and all the effort that everyone has put in to make our community great. And with that, we can adjourn.